सर्ववेदांत सिद्धांत गोचरम तम गोचरम गोविंदम परमानंदम सद्गुरुं प्रणतोस्म्यहम्. As we have been discussing, that we have to be born again and again, or one has to take birth again and again, as long as that person is under the spell of Vikshepa and Avarana. Viksheka Sakti and Avarana Sakti. If that is very difficult to understand, easier way to understand, under the spell of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. And we saw in details how this Rajoguna and Tamoguna really creates havoc in life. After discussing such a beautiful description is being given in this coming verse, which is really amazing. So the concept is that there is a bird, and a bird always would like to sit on a tree. And what is the main purpose? So when a bird sits on a tree, the main purpose is on fruits. So there will be different type of fruits. Even the same tree. So some fruits is ripened, some is not ripened, some, like the same mango, which is now mango season is getting over. Even though mango is tasty, when it is raw, it is sour. Some bitter, very small one, tender one, then it becomes sour, then in funny, then when it gets ripened, it becomes very tasty. Now, when there is a bird, what the bird will do? So bird target is nothing, but to experience, cannot say to enjoy, okay, is wrong word. To experience all the fruits. If that is the case, now imagine if there is a tree, there has to be branches, there has to be leaf, there has to be flower, of course fruit finally. Prior to that there should be seed, then sprouting, trunk, and water has to be given regularly. Unless all these things are there, how come the tree will give the fruit? So this whole concept is visualized in this verse. What a beautiful way of looking at this verse, okay? Let us look at with this background. बीजं संस्कृति भूमिजस्य तु तमो देहात्मधीरं कुरो रागः पल्लवमम्बुः कर्म तु वपुः स्कन्धो सवः साखीका. अग्राणीन्द्रियः सहतिश्च विषयाः पुष्पाणि दुःखं फलम्. नानाकर्म समुद्भवं बहुविधं भोक्तात्र जीवः खगः. Very good. Khagaha means bad. So the one who moves in Khag Akasa. So the one who moves in the akasha, in the space, is called Khaga, is a bird, okay? And who is that bird? Bird? Jivaha, the individual, means me, okay? So I am the bird. Then how I am a bird? Because I consider myself as a bhokta, enjoyer. So a jiva, individual, or you can say me directly, is represented here as a bird because I look at myself as bhokta. Fantastic, nothing wrong with it. Then what happens? Now, definitely, I need to enjoy, I need to experience. He says, look, nana karma samudbhavam bahuvidham. Now, lot of actions have been done. And from the actions, result comes. Different type of results. God knows. From this life, previous life. Sometimes the worst thing happens, I'm not telling you jokes, this is truth actually. Enemy is born in your family. Previous life, enemy is born in your life, in your family. Imagine, what a life. I don't want to scare you all, but just simply I'm telling you. Imagine, your enemy, who was really an enemy in your previous life, becomes your child in this life. So you can get rid of your father. You can get rid of your wife or husband. It's very easy. Wife or husband, getting rid of is very easy, okay? Don't worry. But will you be able to get rid of your child? Sorry, it's impossible. And imagine if enemy is born as your child. And problem is you do not know. Neither that fellow knows. But each one will try to, fighting, at least Tom and Jerry, that is beauty, okay? At least both of them have got care and concern for each other, okay? So in this there will be no care and concern also. But because of this karma, runanubandha, now we are together. Can you see this point? This is called real prarabdha, okay? Real. All are fake prarabdha. This is called real prarabdha, okay? Now he says, look, and this is called fruit, and in the form of what? Dukkham. And I don't have to give the translation of dukkham, okay? All sort of miseries, all sort of difficulties, all sort of afflictions. Now this bird, who is called as Jiva, wants to experience, wants to pick up every bit of the result. Can you see this point? Especially elderly people. Generally, I have seen in many cases, especially I cannot forget my grandmother. I don't know what happens to these people when they become old. They don't want to give up anything, okay? Everything they will pick up and collect and nicely keep it in different places, okay? They want to make use of everything, anything and everything. For example, those days even if also this ions and all these things, or like small pieces here and there will be fallen, they will collect it and they will call somebody and sell it, and that money they will keep it with them. You understand? And of course from the, any things, whatever, only they want to gather and nothing. And very nicely pick up and keep it. So they don't want to miss anything. And later on, who is coming to home, who is going out, everywhere they will have eye. In fact, nobody listens to them, nobody cares. But they must have eye, and they must be, also they expect, they must be informed with due respect. Why? For what? And if any guest comes, suppose like, for example, if suppose let us say my friend comes or somebody comes, if does not go there, that fellow doesn't go there, they get upset. Next time whenever that fellow comes, there will be no smile, no reciprocation at all. Means they hold on to memory so badly. Just I am now recollecting because of this verse, okay? What I am highlighting here is how the person is only picking up or is interested the result of every action that a person has done earlier. That's why I am giving the elderly person, because elderly person think, whole life I have worked to bring up my children. Now children's children have come. So it is my product, you understand? All are here because of me. That is called subconsciously. So after all, they are my, hard work result. I don't know. Let me not, don't provoke me, okay? You know what I talk badly, okay? So what I am highlighting here is, now as the elderly person does, we all do differently. Because elderly person example is better to understand, nothing else. We all try to look at every bit of the result of action. Very rarely we have the tendency to either let it go or ignore. Can you see this point? And here it's been highlighted. Nana karma samudbhava bahuvidham phalam dukkhamiti. Really painful, no doubt in it. All sort of results that is born out of the karma when I have done earlier of my this life or God knows which life. Now, if this is the case, okay, I am tired to listen to all these things. Let us go back to the why it happens. Because the tree starts because of the seed. So what is that seed? He says, look, seed is always beautiful, don't worry. In fact, as long as it is seed, no problem. But only when with the seed it starts becoming sprout, problem starts, okay? Sprouting is the problem of sprouting. Here he says, Bijam Sansruti Bhumijasya. Bhumijasya means the one that which is born out of the Bhumi. That's why Sita's name also was called Bhumija. One of the name of Sita called Bhumija. Very nice. In fact, that word I liked it very much. Bhumija. So a tree is called Bhumija. So he says, look, this tree of what? Samsruti, Samyak Rupe, that which keeps changing. Sansruti, that which keeps in samsara. And he says what? Bijam is what? Very nicely. The seed for the tree is what? Tamaha iti. So tama means the ignorance. So the ignorance becomes the seed of this tree. Okay, fine. Then what about sprout? So we need to look at the sprout part. It says, look, Dehatmadhihi Ankurahati. The problem starts here. The problem is here that identifying with the body as me. Moment I start looking at my body as me, now this seed starts sprouting. And interestingly, once it starts sprouting, you cannot stop so easily. It is like any seed, including paddy or anything. If it has not sprouted, you can keep years together. It may go waste, that is another thing altogether. At least 2-3 years you can keep it, you can use it. Time to time you give the sunlight, you can use it. Whereas once it starts sprouting, can you stop it? It's gone. So now identification with my body is called sprout. So once this sprouting starts, moment sprouting starts, what happens? There will be 2 leaves, okay? Slowly comes and 2 leaves comes up, okay? That's why we have one party emblem, 2 leaves, okay? So here he says, Ragaha Pallabam iti. The moment I identify with my body as me, or moment I consider this body as me, automatically my raga, liking towards the body, will start or not? Of course this, okay, along with raga, dvesha comes. If not for body, who is hating my body, also I'll start hating it. So raga, dvesha, the desire in short, becomes 2 leaves. Of course, later on it keeps increasing, okay? Don't worry. Okay, fine. Suppose only 2 leaves comes later on. So 2 leaves to become more leaves, you need water or not? Without watering continuously, how the tree will grow? He says, look, karmaha ambuiti, the action that is born out of desire. Now that is called water. Means you keep watering and watering. So once you start watering it, then what happens from 2 leaves, 4 leaves, 8 leaves, God knows how quickly that sprout is going to become a plant. Then he says, look, once this happens, again, Bapuhu Skandaha Asavaha. So you need what? The trunk, the main body of the plant. He says Asavaha are called Bapu. Asava means pranas, your vital energy. How passionately you work, you understand? So that is called the trunk. Then comes what? Once there is a trunk, then you need branches. He says, look, Indriya Samhati Sakhikaha Agrani. How? Indriya Sahanti. So that means all these sense organs, where it starts joining. In short, the sense objects. So there becomes the small branches. And of course, also from that also Visayaha, again says Indriya Samhati. Better use the word, let us instead of that. The process of better using Indriya Samhati, the process of joining the sense organ with sense object are called the branches, small branches. And Vishayaha, the sense objects, are called Pushpani, flowers. And of course, already we have discussed what is phalam, the fruit. Nana karma samudbhavam iti. And that too bahuvidham. Various kinds, different types. The born out of what? Actions are called fruits. And they are dukkham in nature. Now atra, here, the jiva, the individual, consider himself as bhoktaha, called khagaha, the bird. What a beautiful description. And if this is me, now do I have any choice other than suffering in the name of experience? So in life, I suffer in the name of experience is because of this reason. I'll take 1 minute because I have to change the battery. I'm sorry. So, if this is the case, now whenever I try to experience or my process of experiencing becomes painful to me. That's why very nicely in Vairagya Satakam, Bhartuhari says that bhoge roga bhayam, while enjoying, if there is no other bhayam, fear, at least roga bhayam is there. Roga means a disease. So let us look at the next verse. Ajnana moola yama atma bandha naisargiko nadirananta iritaha janmapyaya vyadhi jaradi dukkha pravahapatam janayatyamusyam amusya. Says beautifully how this happens. Ayam anatma bandha ajnana mula iti, and which happens to be naisargikaha anadi ananta, which is iritaha described. So that means this bondage, this bondage, what sort of bandha? Anatma bandha, bondage with not self. That which is not self, I consider as me. So bondage of anatma. It happens why? What is the cause of it? Ajnana mulaha. So the ajnana means the ignorance is the cause. And interestingly, it is naisargikaha. It is not caused by anything, it has just happened. Because it has happened, now it is called anadi, means don't dig too much. Anadi means beginningless. There is no point of digging. Why it happened? Why I was born first? Already you are born and you have done a lot of things. It's not one life, how 1,000 times. Now work on how to get out of it, okay? Not what happened. That's why thinking of past has no value. Always working for the future has meaning. However, says beautifully, it is not only anadi, interestingly, ananta. So this ajnana also will be ananta, endless, unless the person wakes up. The person who wakes up, for him, ajnana comes to an end. If not, it will continue. But this ajnana will continue, ignorance will continue, but the person will not be there. Ananta, and this is what is being described. Now it says, Because of this thing, Janma, Appeya, Vyadhi, Jaradi, Dukkha Prabhapatam Janayati. And because of this reason, what happens? Prabhapatam, very nicely. Prabhapatam means that Pravaha is a flow. Patam means waterfall. So when there is a waterfall continuously flowing, that means what? It will be flooded, water will be flooded. Now what is that? Instead of water, here is a dukkha pravaha patam. So full of miseries, it keeps falling and flowing. You understand? Imagine one waterfall. Instead of waterfall, only dukkham keeps falling. How is it? And wherever that water goes, only dukkham starts flowing. You understand? Just visualize, okay? There is no waterfall, only dukkham fall, okay? So he says, this is nice, dukkha pravaha patam. So that means what? That only the flow of, let us say, only dukkham miseries. And in the form of what? In the form of janma, starting with birth. Or you can say hopes. Appeya, death, sense of loss. Vyadhi, disease. Jaradi, old age, and etc. And you know, you can add your own points, okay? Now he says what? It creates janayati. Really, it creates a lot of problem. And that becomes what? Bondage for me. Okay? If this is the case, then how to manage? How to grow out of it? What is to be done? So should I do some bhajan? Should I do pranayama? Because I am writing on pranayama, that's why I am writing, okay? Should I do pranayama? Should I do this? Should I do that? Yes, all you can do is great, because all is helpful to calm down your mind. So that once mind is available, because if a mind go through the turmoil, Vedanta, nothing will work. Even if you cannot hear anybody. Nothing will enter, because mind is in turmoil. When a particular thought is bugging you, only you will be thinking of that thought, nothing else. Not you will think of, that thought only will come. That's better word, okay? So nothing will enter. For all these things, to bring down the mind or to keep the mind in a better condition so that you can be available for somebody to listen to, something to listen to, all these things, puja, japa, pranayama, dhyanam, everything is useful, no doubt in it. But what you need to do? Let us read. Nastrei na sastrei ranine na vanhinam Chettum na saktyo na cha karma kotihi Viveka Vijnana Mahasina Vinam Dhatu Prasadena Shitena Manjuna. Very clearly says, Na Astraihi. So not by any weapons. Because if you observe the bondage that you have cannot be destroyed, cannot be cut into small pieces by any weapon, including your logical weapon. Because logical weapon is very good for others, not for yourself. That is the best part of it. And of course, if not, no astra, no sastra. Sastra is a different type of kinds of weapons. I have to really see the difference by scripture. I have not seen astra and sastra. There is some differences there. And anilena. So anilena means by wind. Vanhina, nor even by fire. So all these things, chetum na sakhya, is not possible. Not only that, he says, even if by karma kotihi, even if you do millions of or crores of actions. So any sort of action also is not going to remove the bondage. Because if there is a real bondage, you can do all these things. If the bondage is out of confusion, is illusion, the more you do, the more you strengthen or not. So that is what we do. So it doesn't work. Then how is it possible? He says, look, you need a Asi. That Asi is called Maha-Asi. Maha-Asina, a great sword. And what is that? Viveka Vijnana. Not Jnana, Vijnana. So Vijnana means the knowledge with confirmation. With your Anubhava. Anubhava saha Jnanam called Vijnana. So he says Viveka Vijnana. That knowledge backed up by your own Anubhava, your experience. That is born out of discrimination. That becomes called Maha-Asi, a great shoot, which really creates wonders. Without that, it is impossible. And he says, how it can be done? He says, look, when you keep using it very carefully, this Viveka Asi, definitely anything, anytime you use any sword or any knife, so sometimes what happens? That becomes the sharpening, the sharpness goes away. So you need to time sharpen it. He says, look, Dhatu Prasada is called sharpening. So Dhatu means mind, okay? So when mind is really supporting you, we say the grace of the mind. How the grace of the mind comes? Grace of the mind comes when there is 3 graces. That time your mind supports to you. When you have Ishvara Krupa, the grace of God, Guru Krupa, Shastra Krupa, and of course your Krupa because of that is Atma Krupa. So unless Ishvara Krupa and Guru Krupa, the grace of the God and the teacher is there, your mind definitely is not going to bless you at all. In fact, that mind becomes what? A devil, a demon. Have you not observed? Because whatever you say, that fellow goes one step, not one step, few steps ahead, okay? Bam, stands in front. I remember in our childhood, which I have never come across this incident. I have tried to look at, but I have never come across. They used to say that there are different types of ghosts, like there are different types of snakes. Amazing thing to know, okay? Snake world is a very different world, so also ghost world. Like if I talk about snake, then you will understand. There is one cobra variety. Cobra is a number of cobras are there, okay? So one variety of cobra is those who generally they live in that field any paddy field or any field, generally when they chase, anybody they chase, they are very notorious. They will chase up to 2.5 field. It's an amazing concept. So if you are lucky, if the field is, let us say 1000 square foot, you are escaped. Means 100 square meter, you are escaped, okay? Means 100, 200, 250 square meter you run, you get escaped. Imagine if that field becomes 2000 square meter each one, you are finished. They really chase you up to 2.5. I have seen this particular thing, I have seen. Because they are designed to that. I don't know how it is possible. Maybe they make their territory, you understand? So up to that they will chase, after that they will not chase. And such a big ones. Oof. Same thing also, I was told, which I have never seen. This ghost, there are one type of ghost, there are different class of ghosts, okay? Like how people are different type of people, okay? Small mafia, big mafia, all these people, okay? They have also their group, don't worry, okay? When they want to create obstacles, suppose you go on this thing, they want to really, they create it. Then they will go, because generally they do not go straight. This is true, this I have seen it. What they do is, suppose you are going, they will take the help of some other shrub or some other thing or tree or whatever, they will go and come in front of you. They will stand in such a way, if you manage to go, again cross that you don't care, again they will try to create some issue, again go, again stand in the front. Every time they will make sure that your mind becomes weaker and succumb to them. You understand? This is the whole concept. They will never allow your mind to become strong. And if you really fail, then they possess you. Many things happens. Same thing also here. When you start using Viveka, now definitely this Viveka is very useful. But after some time, the sharpness of your thinking goes down. Because how long can you fight with yourself? How long can you fight with any situation? Because one time or other you will be tired and exhausted, definitely. The moment you are tired, suppose let us say I am fighting here. Let us say I want to fight with this heat. Now my focus is, heat will not bother me at all. So now my focus is only on heat, nothing else. Now when I am focusing on heat affect me, now what will happen? In the process, I do all sort of tricks and techniques, practice pranayama, do this, that, so that my body will be cool more and more. Like I will start practicing Sitali, Sitkari, all these pranayams. Now in the process what happens? Yes, I don't bother about the heat, but will I be affected and acquainted with the cold or not later on? So I cannot have a balanced life. It is almost impossible. Can you see this point? So that's why we say a discrimination can be sustained, can be managed when mind supports you, when mind blesses you. And this mind blessing comes when there is God's grace, when there is Guru's grace, Shastra's grace. Or else it's very difficult to fight with situation every moment. In fact, people become frustrated and fed up. In fact, they become very critical of their life and others' life. Because every moment you have to fight. And how long can you fight? It is impossible. That's why it says, look, you need this. Okay, let us now. How? Again, let us read. Shruti pramane kamate swadharma nishtatairvatma vishuddhirasya visuddha buddhe paramatma vedanam teneva samsara samula nashah. So he says, look, this is the process. Only through this process, definitely, the person will be destroyed. Samsara samula nashah, will be able to destroy this samsara, this tree. Of course, with all these things, including the bird, okay? Bird also goes away. And how it is possible? It says, first of all, it says, Shruti Pramanaha Ekamate, the one who has undoubtedly, the one who looks at Shruti, the Veda, as a Pramana, means of knowledge. This is a big concept. As you know, as the eyes are means of knowledge with reference to color and form, about one's own self, about the heaven, about many things, Veda as a pramana, not any other thing. This pramana buddhi has to be there. Unless the person has got this pramana buddhi, definitely that person is not eligible for Vedanta. That's why, if pramana buddhi is not clear, definitely Vedanta is not going to work. Always you will keep doubting what the scripture talks. Maybe this is fantasies of the rishis. You understand? In their so-called meditation, they had some marijuana. With that marijuana, some revelation happened. And that is how they spoke. That is called Veda. Somebody talked like this, okay? I heard, okay? I said, whether rishis had marijuana or you are having marijuana now, we do not know, okay? Maybe the smell of marijuana has made you to talk of these things. Very unfortunate. However, so pramana buddhi has to be there. And once there is pramana buddhi, then comes swadharma nishtha, means sokarma nishtha. Commitment towards your duties. So you keep doing it. Here indirectly what? Karma yoga. So through that you take care of your likes and dislikes. You take care of all insecurities that you have. In fact, you allow your mind to go through. So that's why Swadharma Nishtha. Then through this what happens? Because of which Atma Visuddhi happens. Atma Visuddhi means that purity of the mind. Mind goes through polishing process. And with that Visuddha Buddhi, when the person has got this sort of buddhi, which is pure, Paramatma Vedanam only happens. So Paramatma Vedanam means knowing, understanding Paramatma as one's own self. Paramatma means the absolute reality. So understanding that absolute reality as me only can happen when the person has got this process. And only by that, tera eva, only alone by that, sansara samulanasa bhavati. the destruction of the samsara with root, without any remainings, get exhausted, gets destroyed. Okay, then how is it possible, how it will be done? He gives one beautiful example. Generally, that also we see it. How? For example, those days, if you go to any Bapi means a bigger well, especially in cultivation field, they dig a big well where you can take the water, and also you can irrigate the place. Huge ones they make. That is called Bapi. So bigger well, let us say. If that well is not being used for a long time, what happens? First, it will start a thin layer of moss, green color, then slowly it will become thin, thicker, then slowly you will see from that somehow some plants will start growing, you understand? Finally you will discover that whole, that well, big well, will not be visible at all. So, not for use, for anything. So that the example is being given this verse, next verse, let us read it. Koseiranatmayadehi panchahiratmana sambruta. Okay, we can. Koseihi annamayadehi panchahiratmana sambruta bhati. Nijas sakti samutpannehi saivala pataleiribambu bhapistham. How? Says, look, annamayadehi koseihi panchabhihi. And how? If you look at this Atma, this self, is being as though covered. 5 seeds, starting with the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. Now, because of this reason, what happens? Now, I am not available. So, whenever I am identified with the Annamaya, I look at me as body. Pranamaya, I am energetic or I am dull. When I associate with my Manomaya based on my mind modification. Vijnanamaya, also very decisive. Anandamaya, either I am happy or sleepy. So here he says, this thing happens how? This is exactly, it is one's own power. From me, all these things happen. How is it possible? He gives the example of, in Bapi, in a tank, in a bigger well, how this water, from the water, now all sort of Saivala Patalehi, slowly a thin layer of moss starts generating and getting strengthened. So that means from the water, this moss is being created and finally it covers the water completely. Now all these 5 questions is exactly does as though covering. The next verse is, so that we can see, then it will complete. Tat chaivala panaye samyaka salilam pratiyatte suddham trishna santapaharam sadyah saukhya pradam param pumsaham. Tat saivalah apanaye samyak. If we manage to remove that mask, that layer, and all other effects, then what happens? Now we need to remove. Then salilam pratyateti. The water will be visible. Not only visible, it is suddham, pure. Because when it is being protected with this thing, there is no dust, particle, nothing will be there. It will be pure. And that water will be able to remove santapaharam trishnaiti. That to sadhya. Immediately it will remove santapa. The affliction related to. Remember, this is a beautiful point. Affliction related to trishna, thirst. And saukhya pradam param pumsaha. It also gives the joy. Give her the joy. Remember this point. We have to look at this verse very carefully here. He says, Trishna santapaharam, not Trishna haram. Because you are thirsty. More than thirsty, that you are thirsty, the thought of being thirsty is more painful than the thirst. Can you see this point? Because the amount of water that is in the body is not going to kill you. You can survive without water for many days. But many people die out of panic. I don't have water, you understand? My throat is choking, throat is dried, you understand? So the lack of water does not kill a person. It is the santapa. So santapa means that the pain, the worries, anxieties of not having water. That is thirst. Now he says, look, the moment you see there is a well and you are thirsty, now you are getting into panic, you do not know what to do. Moment it is being managed to remove, then what happens? Then and there, your thirst goes away. Can you see this point? The worries, the concern about the water, will it go away or not? In fact, then and there you will feel relieved immediately. Not only that, also seeing the water, will you become happy or not? Relieved, happy. So how this happens? You don't do anything, you don't have to drink water. Can you say this is the main point? You don't have to do anything, you don't have to drink water. Just seeing the water itself, your thirst goes away, you are happy. So also, you don't have to do anything, seeing yourself as you are. By removing 5 layers, not that you are physically you have to remove it one after another, like onion, one person was telling. How? Atma is like onion. How the onion is being covered with one layer after another layers. So that this panchakosha atma. So you have to remove one layer after another layer. So keep removing, okay? After that finally what you will find? Nothing. That is called atma. You should listen to, okay, different talks, especially nowadays. People don't have anything to do. All these spiritual people become spiritual. These spiritual people become spiritual. Youngsters, they want money, what to do? Make all this TikTok, this that, so that make some money, making all the funny videos. Social media and everywhere, only video, nothing. You can see the way the person is according to the RBG in that way. However, how that happens here, just seeing that, you don't have to do anything, seeing yourself, that which is not 5 kosas itself, you are liberated, you are free. More of it we'll see on Monday. Please close your eyes. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.